Video 7, using tipping point strategies to resolve issues that arise when implementing continuous improvement. What are tipping point strategies? Well, tipping point strategies come to us from the field of epidemiology. And in that field, it's widely believed that in any organization, once the beliefs and energies of a critical mass of people are engaged, conversion to a new idea will spread like an epidemic. What that means for leading change is that you need to motivate that critical mass of people. You need to engage them. You need to make sure that they believe in what you are trying to achieve and that you give them reasons to believe it. Such a movement can only be unleashed by agents who make unforgettable and inarguable calls for change, who concentrate resources on what really matters, who mobilize commitment, and who succeed in silencing naysayers. So this is a tall order to be able to achieve all of these qualities in a single leader. But we do know that there are specific strategies that people who study tipping point leadership have identified. And we're going to talk for a few minutes about those. All right. Tipping points are, share one thing in common. They all help you get over a specific type of hurdle. Now, these hurdles are usually obstacles that stand between you and mobilizing that critical mass of people. The first kind of hurdle is cognitive, and that's really about a lack of shared understanding of the problem. And the best way to get people to develop a shared understanding is by having them go through a shared experience. All right. So, and one shared experience is better than a bunch of different explanations. So if you can identify one thing for everyone to do together to experience a new understanding or to experience why something is a problem, then you're farther along already in getting over that hurdle. The second hurdle is political. Who's in the way, right? So oftentimes one of the obstacles will be people who benefit from the status quo, or other people who might end up hurt by the change that you're trying to achieve. So one of the most effective strategies here is either to move yourself or the obstacle. If, for example, there is a particularly strong group of teachers who are very set in their ways and don't want to change something that they're doing that hasn't been proven yet, one thing you could do is you could remove that hurdle by piloting the program with some other group of teachers until the results are more clear. That will, one, solve your political hurdle, and two, by seeing the success with the other groups, you may get over the cognitive hurdle with the teachers that are not early adopters. The third hurdle is about resources, right? Do you have enough resources to tip momentum in your favor? An easy way to do that is to shrink the change or reframe the ask. If you think that you need to change reading achievement for all students, then but you don't have money to go all the way in for a first year, starting with a grade level team, again, is a way to shrink the change. You want to prove the worth of your program before there's a big investment of dollars. That will work. Then, after you've shown some success, then you could reframe the ask, right? You might say, can we afford not to spread these gains through the rest of our building? So it would be a very different way of attacking the resource hurdle. And frankly, in schools, lots of times, people just say, well, there's not enough money to solve everything. Well, sometimes you don't need new money. You just need to use the money you have a little bit differently or a little more strategic. And then finally, there's a motivational hurdle. Why should we do it, right? So in these cases where everything seems to be a very large lift, one thing you can do is, again, sidestep your constraints. In some cases, your motivational hurdle and your political hurdle are kind of the same. In our earlier example, we had a group of veteran teachers who were fairly successful, didn't see the need to change. Why should we do it? Well, don't ask them to do it first. Once they see the results, teachers want things to be successful in their classrooms. They want to get good results. then you will change their motivation by showing them that there's a better way to go about it. And one way to use these strategies is to run them through a protocol, right? So a protocol is a structure for you to use to help make it easier to ask challenging questions, to ensure there's equity and parity in terms of who's speaking and who's not speaking. So in the case of the consultancy protocol here, I would use a what, so what, now what protocol. So you can see the example on the screen. What you would do is you would cycle through a group of participants, in this case 3 participants, where the first person would describe their what's the problem they're trying to solve, what's the so what, what are the hurdles they anticipate. Then they might ask you, the other participants, to describe any strategies that you think would work for them, or they may describe strategies themselves. And then you would rotate. And what this does is it evens the playing field for all the participants so that no one is put on the spot and that everyone has a chance to participate in a more equitable and safer structure. So go ahead, take these strategies and give it a try on some problems that you might be having in your school's change management cycle.